Hi, today I'm trying a new recipe, a high hydration bread dough to make beautiful, beautiful little rolls that are crispy on the outside and soft in the middle. Let's get started. This is all you're going to need to make this bread. Flour, yeast, sugar, salt, this is Himalayan pink, water, and olive oil. So I have my flour weighed out in a bowl. All the measurements and listed ingredients you'll find following the link in the description box. I'm going to add this all together in one bowl. I know a lot of you will bloom your yeast first, but this is going directly into the flour, our sugar, and our salt. And I'm just going to give that a whisk and whisk that all together. Something wonderful about making bread. It really fills your house, your heart, and your spirit when you make it. So that is all mixed together, and in goes the water. And this is just room temperature. In it goes. Now this is a very wet dough, high hydration. And I'm just using my scraper here, and I'm just going to mix that all together until it forms a very shaggy dough. And then we'll cover this and let it rest for 30 minutes. So just get all of that mixed together. This is a 96% hydration dough. So it will be a lot wetter than perhaps what we're used to. And you'll see when we fold it, no kneading, we're going to fold it, that it actually builds structure from those folds and makes it easier to handle. So that's it. You could mix this with your hands or a wooden spoon if you prefer. But this is all we need to do. So now, clean my scraper, get that in the bowl. Okay. So now, I'm just going to cover this with some plastic wrap. And we're going to let this rest for 30 minutes. And then we'll come back and we'll add 2 good tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, the dough has rested. And now it's time to add our olive oil. And we're going to add 2 generous tablespoons of olive oil. And we're just going to use the scraper to combine that into the dough. Just kind of fold it in to the dough until it absorbs as much of it as possible. And the reason we add it at this stage is that fats will retard the gluten development of the dough. So we give it a little while to hydrate and develop that gluten before adding Hila. There. That's looking pretty good. Fine. Now that we've combined that, we're just going to cover it again and give it another 30 minutes before we start our coil folds. "30 minutes have gone by, and it is time for our first coil folds. So you just want to wet your hands, and we're going to come in at the sides, and we're going to scoop under and lift that up until that falls. And we'll turn the ball 90 degrees, and we'll do it again. I'm going to do a couple more. And it's just so that dough falls under. And it's already getting quite a bit of strength. And that's the reason we're doing that. We'll stretch that and let that fall back onto itself. You can see it's quite sticky and wet. And that is the reason to wet our hands. Now that we've done that, I'll clean off my hands. We'll cover that back up and we'll wait another 30 minutes and we'll do the second coil fold. And it's really that simple. No kneading. We just let time and the method help us with the bread making. It's time for the second fold. Again, I'm going to wet your hands. This is a coil fold. And you should be able to see and feel the additional strength that has come. You just have to trust the method. Got a couple more. You just want to let that fall back into the bowl. And that is it. So now we'll cover it again for another 30 minutes. And then we'll give it our final coil fold. So while we wait for this 30 minutes to pass, one of the things I want to just say is bread making isn't difficult. It really is easy. Something we've done as human beings since we learned to cultivate wheat. So how many thousands of years ago that is, I don't know. But there is something really reassuring and loving about making bread that you're going to share with your family and your friends. So again, we'll give this 30 minutes. Come back and give it its final coil fold. And then we'll make some bread. We'll bake some bread. Okay, 30 minutes have passed. This is our final coil fold. We're going to do, this is number 3. And it goes, lift it up and let it fall back. You turn it 90 degrees. And we'll do it again. Fall back. And I'm going to give it 2 more for good measure. Put my hands a little bit more. And the last one. And there. Now we'll cover it, let it rest for 30 more minutes, and then we'll shape it. We're going to turn it out onto a floured surface. We'll flour the top, stretch it just a bit, and then we'll use the bench scraper to cut it into 8 equal parts, which we'll then put on a parchment lined tray, and it'll go into our hot oven, 200 degrees Celsius, 400 Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. And we'll create some steam by adding some ice water into the bottom tray. So it's going to be good. For a first time, I'm very happy with how this dough looks. Okay, to turn out our dough for the shaping, I'm just going to generously flour our surface. And I have my tray lined with parchment that's waiting. So just remove that. That's risen beautifully. And we're just going to let it come out. There. And I want to dust the top of it. In my hands a bit. I don't want to degas it, but I do want to stretch it just a bit so it's roughly rectangular. There. And the first thing I'm going to do is dust on our scraper. I'm just going to divide that in half fairly easily. So now I will take each of the halves. I'm going to stretch that just a wee bit and cut those into 4 pieces. So I'll end up with 8. And that looks pretty good, actually. A little more flour, and I'll do the first one. And we're just using the side of the scraper. I'm going to lift that and put that on our tray. Just push it into shape. You can see that. Just pushing that into shape on our tray. And we'll do another. Down goes our blade. And under. Lift and onto our tray. I think I can only get 3 actually on the tray. So let's do one more. Sure that comes away cleanly. And there is number 3. And we're going to let these rest now for 15 minutes before they go into our hot oven. I'm going to take a piece of parchment I've crumpled for the next tray, and I'm going to just get the remaining dough on our tray. Just pushing that gently to shape it into a rectangle. And we'll get the rest of these cut out and ready for the oven. They're really pillowy. I think these are going to be absolutely wonderful. So I'll just finish these and find another piece of parchment for them. And then we'll start baking. Okay, our 15 minutes have passed and it's time to get these into our hot oven. Let's do it. Okay, into the hot oven. And we can't forget to create our steam by adding the ice water. And that will bake for 20 minutes. Okay, our bread has come out of the oven. They look fantastic. Just gonna let them cool. And we'll put the next batch in. The last couple of rolls are still in the oven. Just want you to look at these. They're absolutely fantastic looking. They are soft. They're beautifully soft. They smell amazing. The whole house is filled with this beautiful, beautiful aroma. Okay, I'm gonna let these cool just a little bit before I cut them. I think I'm gonna fill one and have myself a little bit of a sandwich. But they're absolutely beautiful. For a first try, I'm very happy. You've got to try this recipe. Okay, it's time to taste. Let's cut this open. I mean, it is so beautiful. I've got a little filling set aside. Oh, look at the crumb on that. It is so beautiful and soft. Just really amazing. Okay, let's fill this. I've got a little mayo. That's my own little mayo. You can find how to do that in one of my shorts, I think. And that's enough. There's some Dijon mustard. Love Dijon. And I've got some little baby gem lettuce. 2 ought to do it. And some pieces of sliced ham. And some cheddar cheese. Oh. Okay. Let's give it a try. That is beautiful. So soft, nice crust. This might be a new favorite for me. Really great. So don't be afraid to try a new recipe. This high hydration bread recipe really turned out well. Well, thank you for joining me today at Gary's Urban Larder. If you enjoyed today's recipe, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel. It's free. And ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single delicious recipe. And finally, please share this video with your friends and help to build our community. And if you see a hype button, Please hype me. It really does help the channel out. Well, until next time. Bye-bye. Finishing my sandwich. Ooh. This is gorgeous.